Howdy, football fans. The Big D is live on the Spunky Spectrum Sports and the Driving to the Top production YouTube pages as we discuss the Jacksonville Jaguars 2024 season. Before I bring in Brad, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports and the Driving to the Top productions. We try and provide content whether it be wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, any sport. Also, check out the Big D podcast for audio listeners, Spotify and Apple. So, join me, writer and podcast host of the Full Press Jacksonville Jaguars, Brad Harvin. So, Brad, I'm guessing it was hot and humid in Duval County today, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Dylan. And yeah, let me start by it's definitely a pleasure to be back on your show. We all seem to always get together about this time of year. I love talking about my hometown team here in Jacksonville, and yeah, absolutely, definitely hot and humid. Certainly yesterday as well, but yeah, things are heating up. They're making the cuts for the 53-man roster. They've had some names taken away that I guess kind of scratched some heads. But yeah, man, just coming off that 3-0 preseason schedule there, and getting ready for 2024 and heading down to South Beach in a couple weeks.
Yeah. I mean, can we even look at the preseason? I know there's a few things, look at. But I'm not sure we can necessarily take much of preseason and play because, I mean, yeah, some teams play starters, the Pittsburgh Steelers, but neither quarterback's great. But, do you look at much at all of like preseason stats?
No, not necessarily, but I do like to look at, I guess, situational, especially when it comes to Jacksonville. I wish I had more time to look at other games, especially being a co-host of a full press fantasy pod with Kyle. I definitely feel like he has his finger on the pulse a little more of some of these players. But when it comes to the Jaguars, I definitely try and look at situations. Whether it's things they struggled on last year, for instance, the short yardage, the 3rd and 1s and the 4th and 1s, or the goal line. Had they made any strides? Not necessarily with execution, but with play calling too. I mean, trying to get a sense of what the coaching staff wants to do. If they're, just going to pound it in, or going to be, getting away from that finesse style that they had last year. Because Tank Bigsby obviously had some fumble issues. He was supposed to come in, do some short yardage goal line work, but he struggled. But he's been having a nice training camp as well. So I guess kind of what I'm looking at is the situation on the field, what the play calling is going to be. It's not just the players. It's kind of trying to get a sense of what the direction of the team is going offensively. You can't really see too much on defenses besides speed, because they're definitely not going to kind of show everything they got, which they have a new defensive coordinator that people around here are raving about with Ryan Nielsen, but you can't really, in my opinion, you definitely can't really see too much in a preseason matchup, because everything's very vanilla, and but I mean, you can kind of focus on a little bit on the matchups, but I mean, for instance, Trayvon Walker had a massive game last week. Was it against the second string offensive line? Yeah, possibly, but he was still making efforts, making plays, getting to the quarterback. So definitely something that we like to see around here.
Well, obviously the number one story in Jacksonville, as it's been for the past couple of years, is Trevor Lawrence, and we know he got a big contract, and there's a lot of pressure, a lot of expectations. Of course, becoming a father soon, but Trevor looks different this year. I think, I don't know what it is, but watching the game the other night, Trevor looks bigger, and it seems like he's got more giddy up on the fastball this year.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. I know you mentioned that at the beginning of the show. Yeah, I mean, he could certainly use a few more pounds here to absorb some of those hits that he was taking last year that caused him to miss some time. But I mean, there's never been a question on his arm strength. But yeah, I mean, having confidence, playing that back foot and driving the ball. It's definitely something that we've seen. He's had some, I don't want to say up and down training camp, but he's had some bad days. But I mean, I guess everybody does. But as long as we get those out of your system now before the season starts, yeah. Yeah, huge year for him, pivotal year. I mean, he got to pass the first year, maybe a little bit on the second year, even though they went to the playoffs. Last year was certainly a disappointment. Injury riddled, lots of questions with the offensive line, which is my biggest concern going into the season. Although, looked pretty good Friday night. Getting my hopes up again, Jaguars. Yeah, I mean, if he can stay upright and he's going to be able to deliver the ball, I mean, to a wide variety of targets. Yes, they lost Calvin Ridley, but, brought in the rookie Brian Thomas Jr. Evan Ingram looked like he was unguardable the other night. Whether it was a safety or a linebacker. So, he's still going to be in the mix. And if he can get in the end zone like he did the other night, I mean, that's kind of been the knock on him the last couple of years. I mean, yeah, he had 110 catches last year, but, maybe only 4 touchdowns. Does that sound about right? Yeah, I was going to give him 5, but yeah, 4 it was. So, yeah, we need to utilize him around the red zone and take advantage of those mismatches.
Yeah, I mean, obviously last year's wide receiver core was different. Zay Jones now in Arizona, or will be when he's off his suspension, Calvin Ridley's in Nashville. But is this receiving core potentially better?
It's possible. I mean, Trevor's saying that this is the best receiving core he's seen. I mean, I'm sure that's just quarterback talk, and obviously you want to build your team up, but it certainly looks like there's that capability. I mean, face it, I mean, Christian Kirk is his guy. If there is somebody in fantasy football you want to target, I would say Christian Kirk. Getting him when it comes to value, I mean, you're going to see a lot of the big name receivers go off before him, but I think Kirk's going to get his targets. He's going to get his opportunity. He's going to be playing in the slot a little bit more this year, which is going to be more beneficial to getting those targets from Trevor. And then I already mentioned Ingram, but Thomas is coming along as well as a rookie. Seems like he's ready for the show. ETN, I was a little worried about going to this year, but he's been running hard. I think he's going to be a little more involved in the passing game as well. Something they wanted to try and do early in his career before the Liz Frank situation. Granted, that was with Urban Meyer, but I think this coaching staff understands, what a dynamic player ETN can be. And then, they brought in Gabe Davis, someone who's been a little bit of a disappointment, but he has big plays on his resume for sure. I mean, there were games up in Buffalo when he was playing second fiddle to Stephon Diggs, but he would have 3 catches and 2 touchdowns, and they'd both be like over 90 yards. But then he would have 2 games in a row where he wouldn't catch a ball. So we're hoping to try and find some consistency from him. I think he's going to kind of morph into the third wide receiver on the field, after Thomas and Kirk.
Yeah, I mean, is there anybody in particular who Brian Thomas reminds you of?
Well, I mean, he came in and there was a lot of talk that he was just a deep threat or whatever, but it looks like he's definitely honing his route tree. I mean, just the other night he had a nice 38-yard grab, but it was a quick little in route that he was able to catch and turn the ball upfield for an additional 20 yards. I don't have anybody off the top of my head. What about you, Dylan? Who you have a comp right now?
Maybe the guy, you know what? The guy holding out San Francisco is the guy I thought Brian Thomas reminded me of coming out of college, because Brian Ayuk was such a yak guy.
Yeah.
Maybe BT is that guy.
Yeah, that'd definitely be beneficial for somebody here. I don't think we've seen that type of player in a while. We've had the speedsters, we've had the possession control. I mean, going back all the way back to Allen Robinson's rookie year. But yeah, we haven't really had somebody that you can get the ball in space like that in route we saw the other night, hit him in stride, and he can turn it upfield and make some people miss and gain that valuable yardage.
I mean, how can you be that big and that fast?
I don't know, man. If we can answer that, I don't know if the playing field would be even or not.
I mean, maybe Martavis. Do you remember Martavis Bryant with the
Yeah.
Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Is that the worst one either? Before
Yeah, I think he was with Steelers. That sounds right. I'm not sure where he ended up after that.
I mean, but in a way, I mean, even though Evan Ingram's getting up in age, was a ridiculous PPL tight end last year. Only caught 4 touchdowns. So I
Right.
mean, we saw the other night where Ingram's a matchup nightmare because he's too big for corners and too fast for linebackers.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think Jacksonville's certainly utilizing him, and he's going to be an integral part of the offense. But I know that the defense isn't the sexy ones. They're not the ones that put up the points. But I mean, last year, many a games, especially late in the season, when you think about that Tampa game and the amount of points they gave up against the Bucs, who yes, they were a playoff team, but come on, I mean, Baker Mayfield's leading the ship. So the defense certainly had to make some changes. Went and got the new defensive coordinator, got some new pieces through free agency. Just kind of anxious to see, what happens there. I mean, Josh Hines Allen, I guess, got to get used to that. He just, obviously re-upped his contract there. Walker's coming into a pivotal third year for himself. The one signing I really like is the Jesse Armstead that they got from the Niners. I think that's a huge
Eric
Armstead. Yeah, Eric Armstead. Yeah, sorry, wrong Armstead. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, those are some names. Do you have any other names on defense that we should keep an eye out for here in Duval?
Hopefully Tyson Campbell stays healthy this year.
For sure, that would definitely be a benefit. Definitely.
But Neil, because hearing everything about and reading everything about Nielsen, looks like he's going to be a man-to-man coach, which I actually think helps because seemingly the Jags couldn't. I mean, I don't know what it was, but the last third of the year, the Jaguars couldn't stop a wet noodle.
No, not at all. For sure. Yeah, I mean, there were definitely some big games from. I mean, obviously Joe Flacco, is another one. Of course, he torched a few teams on his way to the playoffs, but Jackson was definitely one of those as well. I mean, definitely a winnable game up in Cleveland that they couldn't get done. Just another game that if they could have won, they could have made it to the playoffs and not had that epic collapse that everybody witnessed.
Back from the defense to the offense. I mean, no matter who the quarterback was last year, the offensive line was all over the place. There were injuries, inconsistencies. I mean, Jacksonville could never establish a consistent running game. Every time I saw Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby, both guys were ending up on their butts.
Yeah, they were getting hit in the backfield for sure. Yep.
Not good.
No.
So, Mitch Moore's coming in from Buffalo. Buffalo solidified the center position. How much do you think he makes?
I feel just the experience alone, having all those games under his belt up in Buffalo, I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to command the respect of the others on the offensive line. That's something that Luke Fortner wasn't able to do. I think he has, a mean streak to get to that block, get to the second level, to allow some holes to open up. I'm hoping that he is able to rub off on those guards. I mean, we're looking for Brandon Sheriff to come back. Not necessarily come back to his Pro Bowl form, but definitely better than he has been. I know he was nicked up for the majority of the year last year. There was also a big signing at the end of last year that they kept Ezra Cleveland from Minnesota. He came in and looks like he's going to take over the left guard position. He got paid probably a little bit too much, but a lot of these guys are like that. But yeah, definitely looking for him to do good things in the middle. And then our tackles. I mean, we have Anton Harrison going into his second year. I would say an above average rookie year for the young man last year. If anything, we're hearing rave reviews on how things are going during training camp during his second year. Cam Robinson, once again, I guess playing under the franchise tag, I imagine, if I remember right. Yeah, he's got something to prove. I mean, they have Walker Little, who seems like he's been here for 19 years, but it's really only been like 3. Kind of floating around there. He's going to be the swing tackle. So I don't know if they did enough. I mean, maybe Morse is the glue that's gonna make this line. They don't have to be great. They have to be able to open some holes, keep Trevor upright, and like you said, not have those backs get hit in the backfield that we saw pretty much the second half of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the great teams always have a great center. I mean, look at the guy in Kansas City. Mr. Humphrey just got paid, or Jason Kelce in Philadelphia.
Right.
You need a leader across in the middle of the O-line.
For sure.
And then one big change, even though it's the same OC, Press Taylor is now on the sideline instead of in the press box. So how does that change things?
I don't know. I mean, I guess just a different perspective. I think maybe maybe able to speak to Trevor, speak to the offense directly instead of just through a headset. Maybe that has something to do with it. I mean, I certainly did not advance, in my football playing days, but I would think that, seeing somebody's eyes, having that conversation, hey, you missed this block, or you had the wrong read here. I think instead of, just communicating, of course, used to be through the telephone. Now, I guess everybody's got something or other with an iPad too. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know the ins and outs of all that, but shaking something up, I think it's worth a shot to trying to get this offensive team moving and being consistent where, they faltered last year.
I think just having all the coach on the sideline, I mean, the adjustments could come easy instead of one coach up here, one coach here.
Sure. Yeah.
Be able to just adjust from what they see on the sideline.
Yeah, that's definitely an advantage, I would think, for sure.
And then defensively, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit, but can the Jags stop the run? Because Eric Olmson's a big man. I mean, I'm 6'3", and I think he's 6'8". So
yeah,
that's a big addition in the middle of this defense.
I think so. I think so. And I was surprised that San Francisco, kind of, I guess, let him walk a little bit. I know he's a little bit long in the tooth, but I think his experience is going to rub off on these young guys, on the Trayvon Walker, on the Devin Hamilton. I mean, when you think about tackling, obviously Foye Oluokun is up there, but that doesn't do too much good if they're getting 5 yards a pop. So, like you said, I mean, shoring up that defensive line, winning it in the trenches, bringing in Armstead is a huge thing. I mean, and his backup, coming in there is somebody who's proven, been around the Jaguar organization for a while. Roy Robertson Harris. He'll be coming off the bench and giving some guys some blows. I also kind of heard on the radio today that there's a possibility that it could be some packages where Armstead goes on the outside, kind of mixing things up, being the heavy end, trying to get after the quarterback. So I think there's some flexibility there for Nielsen to do some things. But yeah, stopping that run is number one key. And certainly week one they're going to have a test with A-Chain and Mostert down in Miami.
And then on the back end, did the Jags have enough corners? Because I thought the Jags would have gone after like Terry and Arnold,
Right?
Or Quinn Mitchell instead. I mean, the Jags signed Ronald Darby. Are the Jags okay cornerbacks? Because safeties they added Donald Savage from Green Bay.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I would say they're a little thin. I mean, they don't have the duo that they did back in 2017, with Boye and Ramsey. But I mean, if Campbell, like you said earlier in the show, if Campbell can stay healthy, he's going to be a lockdown on one side. Darby's definitely got some years under his belt, but I mean, it sounds like Cisco's coming into his own. Savage is really taking a leadership role on the backside. So, yeah, I mean, I would have to agree. There is a little bit concern of them being a little thin at cornerback, but if the pass rush can get there, I mean, that they work hand in hand. I mean, I know both Walker and Hines Allen last year definitely raised some eyebrows with the number of sacks that they got, but they're gonna have to pump it up even more.
I don't know how much Josh Allen. I don't know what else Josh Hines Allen can do this year, because he was second or third in the league in sacks.
And pressures, he was up there as well. So yeah, he just needs to maintain, and we need Walker to take another step. But I think what you mentioned about it in the middle, that getting that pressure from the inside as well, that is certainly something that has not been around here for a while.
Yeah, maybe back to the Marcus Stroud job.
Yeah, I mean, I'd hate to say that it's that far back, but yeah, for sure. That with Stroud and Henderson clogging at the middle, those were certainly some good days.
Yeah, good luck running against those guys.
Absolutely.
And then Doug Peterson, I mean, he's facing pressure because, 22, nobody thought Jackson would win the AFC South, and then last year everybody thought the Jags would. So,
yeah. And
if you don't make the playoffs in consecutive years with a quarterback, guess what? You're next on the line.
Yeah.
Just ask Brandon Staley in LA or wait.
Yeah.
or wait. Sure.
Yeah. Peterson definitely got some heat last year, after starting 8-3 and then finishing 1-6, I guess it was. So definitely some concerns there. So I mean, he did shake up some things. Got brought in the new defensive coordinator, like you said. Bringing some changes. Maybe that was his idea to bring Press Taylor down. I mean, I'm sure he had a little hand in that, but he knows what he has in Trevor. People are knocking Trevor, because the stats aren't there. But let's face it, the guy is a generational quarterback, in my opinion. It's just taking a little bit of time to get things going. But I mean, as far as having all the tools and everything, he's got his guy. Now Trevor's got the money. We don't have to worry about that for a few years. So yeah, let's get down to business and play some football.
And but maybe this team having a kick in the pants for what happened last year was big. I mean, we've seen teams choke. I mean, the '93 Dolphins with Don Shula choked away a playoff spot. I mean, the 2003 Vikings thought 6-0 missed the playoffs.
Right.
The Jets gave away a couple of great starts. Of course, the Jets.
Yeah, for sure.
Why are we picking on the Jets? Oh wait, we played the Jets week 14.
Yeah, that could be an important game. I mean, and it's crazy. I know we're talking Jaguars, but
I'm glad you mentioned the schedule, because I mean, you look at the schedule. Jags play the AFC East, the
Yeah.
NFC North, and Philadelphia. I know it may look like a tough schedule, opening week 1 in Miami. But what do you think about the schedule for this team?
I thought when the schedule first came out that the first half or the first few games of the schedule were certainly going to be a test. I mean, going down to Miami week 1 is in that high powered offense. We're certainly going to see what the defense has in store for us the remainder of the year, but. They're going to have to score some points down there to beat the Dolphins, but certainly capable, in my opinion. Then you come home and you take on a Browns team that still has some question marks at quarterback. With Deshaun Watson, is he going to come back and do what he did last year? Or is he able to return to any kind of a semblance of his Houston Texans days? They're down Nick Chubb. Just sounds like he's out the first 5 or 6 games. But another talented team. It's going to be hot. I actually have tickets to that one, Dylan. So that's pretty exciting. And then or they go to Buffalo after that. Does that sound right? I don't have it pulled up, but I do like their chances again in London. I think a sweep in London is certainly in store. And a possibility, that seemed to, really kind of get their gears running a little bit last year until they had their bye week. But it was nice. It kind of sucks to have 2 games over there. But if you can come back with victories, that's certainly a plus.
3 of Jackson's first 4 games on the road. But I guess if you're going to play Buffalo, I'd rather play them week 3 than week 13, where the weather could be 15 degrees and snow.
For sure. And I might eat crow on this. I don't understand the love for the Bills. I know it's Josh Allen, but they lost some people. But not just Morris and Diggs, but they lost some guys on defense. I know last year the big stink was, for the Jets, and then obviously, what happened with Rodgers. But I don't understand. Say, like, everywhere I hear they had the Bills winning the East, and really the only one who's not going to win the East is the Patriots. I think that the Jets have a great opportunity, a very talented roster with old man Rodgers hopefully going to be able to play. And then the Dolphins, we saw what they did last year. They also had a little bit of a collapse at the end of the year, but they certainly showed that they can put some points up. So I maybe I'm missing something with the Bills. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm definitely missing something because everybody else seems to like him to win the East. So.
And it's sort of weird because Trevor Lawrence is 2-0 against Josh Allen.
Exactly, for sure.
Including one was one of the biggest upsets of 21 season, and then last year Jags won the game in London.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, they were in control of that game last year.
But then after the first 4 games where the Jags go to Miami, Buffalo, and Houston, Indianapolis, Chicago, and London. I'm glad we're not going to Chicago week 15.
Yeah, for sure.
And then New England, Green Bay, but that's at home. And then, Philadelphia is going to be hard. Philadelphia and Tennessee might be our only, I guess you would say, potential bad weather games of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, got a big game, up there in Detroit. There was a lot of talk before the schedule came out that maybe the Jaguars were going to play on Thanksgiving Day. That would have been pretty cool, but they're actually going to be out there the week before. Right there in the middle of the season, that's a pivotal game I think for both those franchises. Obviously, lots of potential on both sides, and things didn't go too well last time we went up there, for sure. But it did kind of change our season a little bit. But it was not pretty last time we went up there.
I think I remember. Was that the game after the Ravens game or the Cowboys game?
I want to say it was the Cowboys, but I remember there's a play right before halftime, and Trevor got absolutely creamed. I was like, oh no, he is not. And he got bent backwards and everything, and I was like, oh, he is not coming back. But he tried it back out there in the second half, but it didn't matter. It was a nasty. I want to say like 44-10, something
40
crazy.
to 40-14.
There you go. I was close. I had the numbers right.
Yeah, wasn't that the game that Trevor suffered like an ankle sprain or high ankle
Yeah.
sprain,
He got bit in half. He got bit in half.
And like he's done. And
yeah, I thought it was it. Yeah.
And then he came back, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the schedule. I mean, the end of the schedule is pretty tough. You got the Titans twice in the last 5 weeks. You end up on the road in Indianapolis, and in between there, you go to Vegas. And you host the Jets.
By the way, you know this better than most. The Jags never do well in the Pacific time zone.
No. Yeah, the win last year in LA when they dominated the Chargers, that was definitely an outlier. That typically doesn't happen for the Jaguars.
Yeah, against what was left of Justin Herbert that day.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of a Week 12 bye week. I'd rather have like a Week 9, Week 10 bye week.
Yeah, that's a long haul before a bye week for sure. Definitely.
Hey, you know what else I'm not seeing on the schedule this year that a few other teams have?
What's that?
The Thursday night game.
Yeah.
Apparently Amazon didn't want the Jags on Thursday night football this year.
I didn't even know that. I thought they had one somewhere, but yeah, wow.
I mean, the Bills game is on Monday night, and of course, Philly's a Sunday night game. But Jags will play on Thursday.
Yeah, they sure don't.
Thanks.
That's interesting. All right.
Weapons, we don't.
Yeah. Yeah, there were some years there you could always count on Jacksonville at Tennessee with the Thursday night game.
Oh, gosh. I remember one Thursday night game with Derrick Henry. We stiffed on one of our players.
Yeah. Threw him into next week. Yeah, I mean, happy to have him out of the division, for sure.
Yeah, good riddance, King Henry. Yeah. Go beat up everybody in the North.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, we mentioned the AFC South. Obviously, Houston, the reigning champ. We saw what C.J. Stroud did last year, the Jags. The Colts with Anthony Richardson and Tennessee. It's a fun division with 4 young quarterbacks.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Texans are going to come in, highly favored to repeat, and I mean for good reason. I mean, C.J. Stroud had an amazing rookie year. They went out and did some things. Went out and got Stephon Diggs. I think earlier you said Danielle Hunter, trying to shore up that defense a little bit. And Joe Mixon as well, who I think could be the wild card for that team, because if that team can start running the ball and incorporate a play action, they could be really dangerous. But I'm not sold on their defense. I think Stroud takes a step back, a little bit of a sophomore slump. So I mean, I think we got a split with them for sure in the division. If it's possible to sweep the Colts or the Titans, I mean, I think that bodes well into taking over the AFC South. But Anthony Richardson's a name that's coming in. Obviously, had a nice few games last year before he got hurt. Another, just dynamic player. I certainly saw him play in college. Actually, I saw him play a lot in high school as well. I would catch some highlights because he was going to University of Florida, which is my college team. But I'm interested to see how he, progresses because there's definitely questions with his accuracy and everything. But as far as a physical specimen and able to be creative and make things happen, you're not going to find too many better than Richardson. And then Will Levis down in Tennessee, they have a whole new coaching staff, new running backs, brought in Tony Pollard. They were able to, take Calvin Ridley from us at the last minute, which at the time I was pretty upset about because I thought there was a potential for him to, continue to do some good things here in Jacksonville. But, but if anything, that certainly has solidified the reasoning behind them getting Brian Thomas in the draft. I mean, I think it's a nice replacement. Obviously, cheaper option for at least the next few years. So I mean, AFC South. I mean, it used to be the joke of the league as far as who's going to come out, but I think it's going to be a pretty competitive slugfest here in 2024.
Yeah, I've got quite. I mean, Will Levis looks like he should be on. I don't know if you've seen the world's strongest man, but Will Levis looks like he should be on the world's strongest quarterback.
I hear you.
I mean, but he almost looks too big to play the position.
A little thick.
little too much mustard on that hot dog.
He likes the mayonnaise, if I remember right.
A little too much mayonnaise in sandwich.
Yeah, man, that might be the problem.
Although Houston's top two receivers, if DeAndre Hopkins healthy, are getting up in age.
Correct. Yeah, and in Tennessee for sure. And I mean, you definitely got to worry about that Houston trio down there with Diggs, Collins, and Tank Dell. Definitely have some things. I think Dalton Schultz, still a nice tight end, but I think he's going to just kind of fade into obscurity. I mean, there's only one football, and they're going to want to try and keep Mixon happy. So that's, like I said, I mean, I think he is definitely the one that's going to make that team go. If he can get off and running, that team could be scary.
Yeah, because Houston's offensive line was all over the place last year.
Yeah, for so long, that was definitely their calling card that they were not very good back in the Deshaun Watson days, and even shortly after. It's just they're still trying to patch it together, but yeah.
I mean, to fantasy for a few minutes. Where do you have Trevor Lawrence quarterback-wise entering the year?
I have him right in the middle, which is not something you want to see when you're one of the highest-paid quarterbacks in the league. But right now, I have him at QB 16, although willing to possibly move him up a little bit there. But I mean, last year hurt as far as, definitely the injuries. But I mean, the knock on him is that he's a turnover machine. And when it comes to fantasy football, those fumbles, interceptions, they really add up to, taking away the points. He needs to find a way to capitalize in the red zone. That's also something he's struggled with in his career. So yeah, I have him right in the middle of that.
Let me see if I could guess the top 10. Should we start at 10 or should I start at 1? You pick.
You can go ahead and start at 1.
Josh Allen.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, fantasy-wise, not actual quarterback-wise, because we know who number 1 is quarterback-wise.
Right. Yeah.
Where would Jalen Hurts be on your list?
That's a great question. I have him third. Kyle has him second. We actually both have Mahomes number one, and the reason is
He's finally got wide receivers.
yes, that's the reason. I mean, unfortunately, Hollywood Brown's a little hurt. I mean, when I put my rankings together, Hollywood Brown wasn't hurt yet, but he got hurt for I want to say the first play here in preseason. But he should come back. But I think I think that's exactly it. I think he has some wideouts that can make a difference in addition to Kelsey. And so I kind of have him slightly ahead of Allen, actually. So my top three go Mahomes, Allen, Hurts.
I've got Allen just because of the Russian upside.
Sure, that makes sense.
Same preference. I mean, if you told me and said you can get Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson on your fantasy team, I'm digging.
Yeah.
Because guess what? I'm going to win anyway. We all try and make stacks. We all try and get, Jalen Hurts with A.J. Brown, and with Devontae Smith, Lamar, Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Mahomes, and Kelsey. It's like fine wine.
Yeah.
It's like the old man stack or the dad bod stack.
Yeah, there you go. So, what I was able to do I have way too many leagues going on, but I was able to do this in a couple leagues, and I was able to get Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first round or towards the end, and I was able to get Goff like way down low, and I actually did some research on there, and everybody knows that Goff plays better indoors. This year, he actually plays, I want to say like 14 games, something like that. Only 3 outside. 3 or 4 outside, which is definitely pretty tempting. I think. I mean, he's not the great. I had him on a few teams last year. I was able to trade like better quarterbacks and get more capital, and things kind of worked out. But that's a name for if anybody's interested in fantasy football. That is a name to kind of if you're going to wait on quarterback, which a lot of people do. It really just kind of depends. He would be one that I would target.
I think if I'm in a guillotine league, Jared Goff and Amon-Ra, 2 guys I like to talk, especially like at like a top 5, top 6 pick because Christian McCaffrey's the 101. I think CeeDee Lamb's 102, and then who would be 103? Probably Tyreek Hill, right?
Yeah, we've been seeing Hill. We've actually seen Hill go 102 a few times, but a lot of that was before the news. That came out today with Lamb getting inked a deal there. So it's typically McCaffrey, Lamb, Hill, and then it's kind of up in the air. More so, kind of leaning towards the running backs here. The young guns, Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson.
Are you more in the Breece Hall camp or more in the Bijan camp?
I'm more on the Hall camp, mainly because of what he did last year with 0 quarterback. The targets that he got, the catches. And I know last year with Bijan, it was a lot of it had to do with Arthur Smith or whoever was running the offense in Atlanta, really kind of holding him back. I just think Breece Hall is going to be such a dynamic player for the Jets. I think they're going to find ways to get him the ball, more creative ways than possibly Bijan. In a draft I just had last night, I guess, a guy out of the blue, I think to shake things up, he actually took Breece Hall number 1. I understand it.
I think Breece Hall has gone like the 102 in a couple best ball drafts I've done.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Running back is certainly a premium position. It always has been. You always, like back in the day, you always wanted the Breece Holmes, you wanted the LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk. I'm going way back. I'm showing my age, but
okay. You want Barry Sanders?
Exactly. But Breece Hall is he's going to get catch 70, 80 balls. Bijan has that capability too. I just don't know what's going to happen with the new offense. So I like Hall slightly more than Bijan.
Yeah, and we're going to see Brees Hall Week 14 in
We are.
Jacksonville.
Yep.
Fortunately, it's not in MetLife because we know that turf is awful.
Yes. Yes.
I think we all would agree MetLife's turf is wretched.
Yeah. Definitely taking a few people out for sure.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers, who's the pass rusher for the Dolphins? Jalen Phillips.
Yeah, Phillips, yeah.
Although Brees Hall actually tore his ACL in Denver, which is on grass.
Yeah. He looks like he came back pretty strong, and yeah, I mean, I that was the other thing. I think they kind of hindered him or kind of held him back a little bit last year. That, and I mean, the Jets' offense pretty much sucked. So I mean,
The Jets might have saved Brees Hall from himself last.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Expectations wise, what would be deemed a successful season for the Jags? I mean, realistically, Chiefs seemingly go to the Super Bowl every year. Then you've got other contenders: the Ravens, Bengals, Bills, Texans. What would be deemed a successful season for the Jags? Is it making the playoffs, winning the division, winning a game in January?
I think I think they have to get back to the playoffs. I think it. I mean, you know, if you're talking, major dream, it would be to win the division. But I think they have to get back to the playoffs. Really, for you talked about Peterson's sake, but also, I mean, just the city. I mean, the city was. The city was electric a couple of years ago when it came to playoff time, and they had that crazy comeback against the Chargers and went out to Kansas City and did some good things against the Chiefs team. Probably should have beat them, with a hobbled Mahomes. But in my opinion, they have to get back to the playoffs. And the schedule, really, I mean, we talked about that. The schedule can play out to that. They have to take care of the teams in their division and go on the road and do some things as well. But I think originally I was thinking they were going to be 9-8 again, maybe 8-9, but I think 10-7, 10-7 gets them into the playoffs, and I think that's about where they're going to be. What about you?
I think double-digit wins would be possible. I mean, yes, it's a tough schedule, but I think every schedule is hard. Some may be easier than others. I mean,
Yeah.
I think San Francisco's schedule is brutal. I mean, at Green Bay and at Buffalo in consecutive weeks might be the hardest stretch in the NFL, especially when Brock Purdy's not really a cold weather quarterback.
Sure.
What's the most important game for the Jags on the schedule?
The most important game. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on how they start off, but I think that first home game against the Texans. So I guess that's what, week 5. I think going against the division champs. So it's not the first home game period, but having the Texans come to your house, and you got embarrassed when that happened last year. I mean, they came in here. Nobody knew anything about CJ Stroud at the time. I mean, he had a nice game when he played here, but it was really just the mistakes. And I mean, I feel like the Jaguars were, definitely taking them very lightly. Because was that after the Chargers victory? If I remember right.
I don't remember what week it was.
It was early again. It was week 3, 4, something like that. But I would circle that one. I think that's the big one for now. But yeah, you got those two AFC foes as well. Yeah, it was week 3 last year. Okay.
Yeah, Stroud was 20-30 for 280.
Yeah,
Tank went nuclear in that game. Jacksonville special teams absolutely pooped the bed. Andrew Beck got an 85-yard touchdown in that game.
Yep, I remember that.
Unfortunately, I do.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a bad one for sure.
No, Jamal Agnew fumbled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was just a fiasco of a game.
Yes. Definitely left with a lot of questions after that one.
Yeah.
Do you have one that you want to circle?
Probably that week two Cleveland game, because I think it was such an advantage for these Florida teams playing northern teams early in the year. Like, I know Miami fans were hoping they got Buffalo early in the year, just not at prime time.
Right.
And I mean, no matter if it's Deshaun or Jameis or maybe some ghosts of Cleveland of Otto Graham,
Bernie Kosar.
yeah, Bernie Kosar, maybe the Jags. I feel like the Jags have to win that game.
Yeah, definitely. If they take a loss in Miami week 1, it is imperative that they win their first home game. Yes, I agree.
And especially because 3 of the first 4 are on the road.
Yep.
But if Jacksonville wins, if Jacksonville splits with the AFC East teams and then beats Cleveland, beats Houston, 3-1 start, I take that.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
All right, Brad. Thanks for hopping on. Check them out, Full Press Fantasy Podcast, Jackson, and hopefully the Jags won't be licking the paws this year and actually be growling like the eye of a tiger this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, yeah, like I said, my ideas have kind of changed on them. I'm trying to temper my expectations, but my sunglasses are turning a little teal.
Oh, by the way, I do love the all new uniform.
Absolutely, for sure.